Phew. Phew. Hey, Elijah. Peace, love, and light to you, brother. How you doing? Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me. All right. Thank you for joining me. I'm glad to be here. My name is Jaquab Ben Yisrael. Welcome to my channel. I want to give thanks to the Creator, to the Father, Mother, Creator. I want to give thanks for them giving me the opportunity to try to be a light while I'm in this reality. I hope that I can, or I should rather say, the purpose of this channel is to just try to be a light and to glorify the Creator by way of His Word, sharing His Word, primarily in these days from the Oahspe Bible until He gives us the next revelation. For now, primarily the Oahspe Bible. I like to share from that and sometimes other works in order to try to help a brother or sister just to be able to continue on in spirituality in this day and age, in this reality. It's not real easy to do because we are described as being in a world that is been overran by dark, unenlightened, unbelieving type spirits. And so I just count it a privilege to try to say something, try to share something, try to help a brother or sister who are called faithists to see things and see things according to how the Creator says that we should see things, in an attempt to get us to elevate in our spirit so that we can prepare ourselves for the eternal kingdom, so that we can reach our highest elevation, so we can go to start our spiritual journey outside of this reality in the highest possible elevation that we can achieve. So that's like the purpose of my channel. Now here is I like to try to acknowledge the angels of the daytime and the angels of the evening spoken of in the Essene Gospel of Peace, book 4 right here. And so lately what I've been doing is I just screen it, or I just scroll it so that brethren can, I know that brethren, I don't do videos on the weekend, so I don't get a chance to go through all the angels. So what I decided to do is just to scroll it and let you read it, and I can do my monologue, and then you can decide what day of the week that you are in, or just to give you the knowledge of who the angels even are, of the daytime and of the evening. So I'm just going to allow that to scroll while I'm doing my my monologue. Now today I perceive I ain't gonna make too many female friends because of something that I'm gonna say. Stop the video if you see something that I'm scrolling and you want to make a note of it or whatever. Now again, today I'm not going to make too many female friends because of something discussion that we were having the other day in the room on the channel, dialogue I had with someone. And I really after the video, and I was pretty vexed at my response to what went on. And I have to take this opportunity to give a response to what went on yesterday on the video. were discussing the Zarathustrian laws. We came to a part of the video where we were beginning to read, and I'm going to read from that part again today because it really struck me. And basically, it was like the Zarathustrian law, the commandments of it, and I was really struck by it because it was. I had never read it before. I was looking actually for another part of the Oahspe Bible when the brother he suggested this, what I had read, and I was really, I mean, and I want to revisit that because I believe I got some new understanding on it, and it helped ease my mind because the way I took it, I after the video, I just felt like, man, I don't know if I can make it. I just don't know if I can walk this road. And sometimes I get that way. I get defeated temporarily. I get defeated sometimes, and it's amazing. It's amazing. The Creator, He always steps in, and He gives me better, greater understanding and saves my soul. Because after yesterday, I just thought, man, I just can't. I don't see how I can make it, because I don't want to just. I want to, while I'm in this reality, I want to do it 100%. I want to learn 100%. I want to obey 100%. I want to leave nothing left on the field when my time in this reality is over with. And anything that I read or learn and it makes me feel like I'm going to come up short is very discouraging to me. Very discouraging to me. So what we read yesterday, it had me, I was temporarily, I don't know how to say it. I had a temporary misunderstanding about something. And like I said, I'm going to revisit it today during the reading. Right now, here are the angels, and you can make a note of the angels and things that we could say to acknowledge the angels. For a lot of people today, this evening is the Sabbath. And so it's just one of the, I also learned that it's if I'm not mistaken, I got to revisit it, but I think the Oahspe, it says that we should acknowledge the full moon. I think it's the full moon, which is like the change of watch for the angels and how we should fast on that day. I never read that part. And I mean, it makes all the sense to me in the world, but I also, if possible, I'd like to ask anybody who listens to this video if you are acknowledging the moon phases, and if you do, what do you do? I'm trying to learn how to do that. I want to pay attention to the moon phases. I want to acknowledge the change of watch of the angels. I want to, anything that the Oahspe, anything that it shares that is good for us to acknowledge and to do, I want to do it. I'm just one of those type of brethren. I believe that. I remember one time when I was younger, I had an uncle. He said, if you're going to do something, put your whole behind into it. And anything less, I just can't, I won't be able to understand it, especially when it comes to spirituality. I just believe that it's serious, that it's not, it's, it requires, I believe it requires diligence and sincerity. I really believe that. So anyway, that was the angels, and this is the Essene Gospel of Peace Book 4. And I'm not going to scroll the rest of it. I just primarily wanted us to see the angels, get the angels down in our memory, and we can acknowledge them. So I'm going to go to another ministry that I like to try to share, the Facebook ministry, where I'm trying to alert other brethren if you want to come and have a chance to have fellowship and I like to try to share. I like to read scriptures that it might be fun for you to know about. I have a food ministry where I'm trying to target orphans and elderly and disabled brethren. Although I can't really imagine myself turning anybody away if someone were to reach out for help. I know that the Creator, He said that He he said He actually frowns on helping the able-bodied brethren who can work. I mean, that sounds pretty harsh, don't it? But He says it, and He talks about the reason behind it, that people can become dependent. And it's better that we show brethren that pointing to the light and to share with them to basically work to learn to support themselves so they don't have to keep coming back asking for charity and that sort of thing. And it was, that was surprising for me to read that the Creator would say something like that, because Christianity teach you that type of mind. Chris, that's one thing about being faithless. Now that I found out about the faithless, I feared that it could, even being a faithless, it could turn into Christian faithism. Christian faithism, where you just let anything slide. Everything goes. There ain't no boundaries. There ain't no standards. You're not allowed to do anything. You're not allowed to say anything. Everything is all right. And I'm afraid of that. I'm afraid of Christian faithism, because there's a lot of Christian principles with faithism, so far as being your brother's keeper, and about charity, about loving your brother, that sort of thing, being responsible for the Creator, morals, principles. So I'm gonna scroll in my room. Hopefully you'll come across something. Somebody will see the video and you'll want to hopefully it'll grab your interest and you'll want to come in and have fellowship with us. And I try to just use the room to give brethren an opportunity to redeem the time and to store up. And man, I tell you, there's something that I want to share real quick. It's not going to win over any sisters, I don't think, but I have to be faithful to things that I believe that the Creator tells me to say, wants me to say, regardless of how I feel about it. I want to stop right here and elaborate on this for a little bit. Now, let me see. Let me do this. I'm going to keep scrolling and I'm going to come back to this. Now, what I want to say is that I had the discussion yesterday. We came across a verse that we were looking at in the book of God's Word, and it was very controversial, and it led the discussion to there was a part of the verse that we read where it talked about, do not let a man approach a woman out of desire. And I was dumbfounded by that. I mean, I couldn't get it. I mean, I get it now, though. I needed some help on that verse. Boy, I needed some help, and the Creator, He gave it to me. I meditated on it. I thought about it, and then He blessed me with the understanding, and it saved me, really. I probably get saved like 1,000 times. Well, no, I won't say that. Not that many. Meaning sometimes I run into things that understanding it can scare you, because I think all of us as faithists, we want to get on the right road, man, and just stay there until it becomes habit. It becomes constitutional in our character, meaning we do it by rote. We just do it automatically, So anyway, like I said, I'm going to offend sisters with what I'm about to say. And I don't mean to, but I believe that after my video yesterday, I just had I don't know what a good word is for a troubled spirit. I had a really troubled spirit because of what I did not say. It stayed with me all the way up until the start of this video now. And so I know that what I'm going to say, hi Gaia, peace, love, and light to you. So I know that what I'm going to say is not going to be popular, but I know that I'm not trying to be vengeful. I'm not trying to be evil. I'm not trying to vex anybody. But what I want to say is this. Now, a statement was made. Men should control their lust, even in the face of women who dress half naked, temptingly. Meaning, now I was asked to explain myself, and I said, after thinking about it, I don't want to get into it, And hi, Easton, peace, love, and light. Okay, we'll see if you really mean because I'm ready to say it, You know what I'm talking about because you were here. I feel I got to address it because I had a very, very troubled spirit on me. I mean, I don't like that. That's one thing about when you decide to do stuff like this, minister. You better learn to be truthful, man, and faithful to what you think that you've been given to say. So that's what I'm going to do. And now, what happened was yesterday, the statement was made, men should control their lust. Men should control their lust. And the sister, she was right. She was right. And I've heard women say that before. But upon reflection, that's a very problematic verse. Very problematic statement. Because it tends to selfishness. In other words, it's like saying it's okay if you're tempted, if a sister is tempting, she tempts you by the way she presents herself. It's your fault. It's not hers. And the thing that came to me is that is the height of selfishness. That is the height of selfishness. It's basically saying, I don't care what I do affects you. That's your problem. It's not mine. And I thought to myself, there's a lot of sisters that say that type of thing. I was asked to explain what I meant by half naked. That's when you do things like wear skin tight clothing. You just disregard the effect that has on a brother. You just disregard it. You brush it off. It's your fault. It's not mine. And I don't like to say the spirit told me this or the spirit told me that because everybody says it. But the thing that came to my mind is talk about the verses that talk about selfishness. Because that statement, it kind of threw me off. The statement, well, men shouldn't lust, or they shouldn't, I forget what the statement was. It was something like, men shouldn't lust. They should control their lust or something like that. See, now another reason why it bothered me that I got to speak up. I've got to speak up. And the thought came to my mind, like, it could end up costing you your life. Now, I'm talking to sisters. How you present yourself in the face of men in public, it could end up costing you your life. And then all that, men should learn to control themselves while I do what I want to do. Okay, you can believe that if you want, but it could end up costing you your life. And also the Oahspe, the creator, he says that we as faithists, we are responsible unto the we're responsible unto our brethren not to do anything to lower their spiritual grade. We're taught not to don't do anything that could even remotely lower your brother's spiritual grade. See, we got a responsibility. So to sit up there and say, it's their problem, it's not mine. There are two things. Number one, you could be responsible for lowering that brother's spiritual grade because of his weakness. Now, most brethren, they are not weak in that way. Actually, most men are not weak in that way. And I love what I'm going to read in the reading, what the Oahspe has to say. I love the way the Creator, the overstanding that he gave me. And number two, if you hold to that mind where you feel like you want to do it in spite of the possible consequences, it could end up costing you your life. Sisters, if you want to hold, no one's saying you can't go ahead and do it. Go ahead. If you want, you don't see anything wrong with the way you present yourself. And you may run across that one brother who's got a real weakness. And there are brethren out there who cannot control themselves if the right type of woman comes along and the opportunity presents itself. Your philosophy could end up costing you your life. So I had to get that out. I had to say that because when that came out yesterday on the video, I was vexed at what I did not say. So I'm going to also look at some verses on selfishness. Now, it applies to brothers and sisters. See, one thing that I wonder how serious sometimes when I hear statements like what was made. I mean, I wonder if we play with spirituality? What do we think, man? Are we for real? Or, what's going on here? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I tend to think that at the very least, when you talk about the Creator, you talking about having to have an empathy for your brother. At some point, man, he's going to ask you to be your brother's keeper. He's going to ask you to turn the other cheek. He's going to ask you to, if he asks you to go 1 mile, go with them 2 miles. You know what I mean? If he asks for your coat, to give him your cloak also. Even Christianity teach you that. Now, is it changed since you subscribe to the Oahspe Bible? Now you're allowed to run free and do whatever you want, even if it vexes your brother. And is that the attitude we're supposed to have? Well, hey, man, that's his problem. It ain't mine. I ain't got nothing to do with it. I don't care about that. Are you for real? Are you for real? I'm shocked. Your actions, it could cost you. It could cost. Especially when it comes to biological, when it comes to between a man and a woman like that. And I was relating the story about the German prisoners, how the Germans used to have a cruel experiment. A cruel experiment. You remember me telling you about it? How they would cause him to shoot himself. The Germans would now I venture to say I hope that it's not true. I forget where I read it from. I read it a long time ago. I read it was some study that was done, and that came out. It came out. I forget where. I don't have the information. Maybe you can Google it. That's how cruel people can be to one another. they would take that prisoner, they would strip him naked, they would take one, they would take part of the string, tie it to a gun, place it in front of him from a distance, and place the other part on his privates, and bring a naked woman in. And if he got aroused, it would trigger that gun, and he would shoot himself. Now, if ever time a man is going to try to control his lust, that is the time he's going to do it. You see what I mean? So when you got the nerve to say things like he ought to control his lust, I mean, that I can't. It's just too amazing on me. There are certain things. Well, you get my drift, man. You sisters, you want to believe, you want to have that type of mind, and you don't see anything wrong with that. One day it could cost you your life. Now, I pray to God that ain't the case. But we living in a fallen, weak society that caters to the flesh. So anyway, that's all I got to say about that. I had to speak my piece on that. I'm disappointed that I let that go yesterday. I should have addressed it right away. So anyway, let's see. I want to look at some verses on selfishness. I'm going to look at some verses. I'm going to see what the Oahspe's got to say. Let me see. Gaia says, let me see. ASNet says, peace, love, and life, family, brother. I don't worry about offending, saying the truth. Okay. Thank you. Gaia says, I feel you. I want people actually talking about Oahspe, not people rambling about their views on dietary laws without any empathy for other people's situation. Yeah, it's funny you say that because amazingly, I just learned that dairy products, they fall under the Oahspe dietary laws. Am I wrong? Is that right? I believe, so that means that, and I love eggs. You know what I mean? And I can't deny it, man. It comes from a chicken. It's part flesh. It's just not, what is that? I forget what the word were, the egg and the sperm, But it's part, you can make the argument that that's part flesh, which the creator said he don't want us to be on that type of diet. I mean, so, it's not easy. It's not fully developed fetus. Not fully developed fetus is what an egg is. Yeah. See, Asan says, Jehovah is truth. We can't stand against his words. In ancient Israel, men and women could not even be in the same house unless certain events. I stand with Jehovah. Yeah. I mean, in this reality, we don't acknowledge the element, the male-female element. And who knows how many psychological issues the actions of one person can do to another. I mean, the actions of one person in California can affect somebody else in New York. So and sometimes people, especially in that area, you're talking about sexual temptation, and it's more likely going to be the woman that entices a man. And there are some men, and I used to work construction. I know how weak men are. I know how weak they are. And I think the whole world knows, but America especially is a over-sexualized society. with the free pornography, exciting men and women, feeding their lust. This is a dangerous place we live in. We live in a dangerous place, man. So that's one reason why I had to make sure, you know, I hope that my words may, save some, well, not my words, but I know that the creator, that his desire is not for his daughters to come under any situation where they get violated and overpowered by a man who has trouble controlling himself. It's a very real issue, especially in this reality. But um, let me see. Elijah says no fully developed fetus is what an egg is. So you say the eggs are okay, Elijah? The creator did say no. He did say no eggs. Oh, okay. Man, that's too bad, man. I love eggs. I love them, but hey, I didn't think I could get off of meat. So, and I did when I found out about that. I went online and they have plant eggs. And I read somewhere where it's even in the Oahspe, something that to the effect of everything that I can't remember. It said something like there's an equivalent for meat in the dietary law. It's not like we can't do it, man. But see what I'm saying? We got to make changes. I want the kingdom of God, man. I want to elevate. I want to be a God. I want to be a God. I want to go for it. I don't want to be left behind in nothing. If he say that he created us to be creators, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go for it with all. I don't want to let nothing stop me. And if it means making some changes, then I'm gonna just make them. And no matter how much it hurts. Asenet says coveting is sin. Coveting is a sin. Yeah, that's right. Because it comes from looking too much at what you should not, and then that desire gives birth to sin. Yeah, that's true. The problem is it takes two. You know what I mean? It takes two. Both are at fault. There's the one who causes it, and then there's the one who submits to it. Now, I had to point out the consequences of what I have seen, the violence that women suffer, because there's somebody and we don't know, man. See, I think it was the Nagamati that said that, women's sins are outward and a man's sins are inward. And so I think that the way it works with is, well, I don't know. It's too tiring to even, go down that road. But I know that the result of that mind of basically saying that, well, men should learn to control themselves. That's a dangerous way of thinking. That's all I'm trying to say. That's dangerous, brother. Because all it takes is one time, man, All right. Well, anyway, let's get off of that because, I'm going to do some reading to try to show the creative mind on we got to change our mind. But coveting, yeah, it's real. I love eggs too, but we have to try to have power and stay in prayer. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm gonna make that change. And we kind of fortunate in that they got plant-based food. I think that's part of the Cosmic era. Plant-based food. I think that Creator's hand could be in that. I think it's very well in that to help us to make that transition. Because I don't look down on people. Yeah, Soylent Green. But that was a movie where they were the ones getting eaten, wasn't it? Soylent Green. Wasn't it about people where people were eating other people, Soylent Green? But they seem to be making it easier now to make that transition from meat to. It seemed like the creator, he might have his hand in that to make people turn from eating flesh to plant food. I don't know. But getting off of meat, it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. You know, I mean, they have certain types of drugs that when you're getting off of a hard drug, they give, I forget the name of it. It's like to wean you off of the hard stuff, to wean you off of the hard stuff. And it seemed like, so far as meat, they got that type of. I'm telling you, man, you eat one of those Impossible Whoppers at Burger King. Do you know? I mean, it's hard to tell the difference, man. And that way you can wean yourself. Wean yourself off of meat, because man, that's a hard one. I'll give that to you. Elijah says, "Me too. I gotta been weaning myself off it." Yeah. May the creator help us, man. We've been all our life and now doing these things all our life. And he's saying, make changes. And now I got the understanding that because this is the way it's going to be in the spiritual. What we're doing now is we're kind of like practicing for like the resurrection, where we're going to be. I mean, maybe you think you're going to the second resurrection, then your ASAP says, no, man, you can't go there yet. You're not ready to live that level of life. Everybody there, man, is a vegetarian. It's going to be too much on you. Now, I'm just trying to give an idea of why the creator is saying do these type of things. He said that you want to eat herbivorous diet so that you can be able to hear his voice. You know what I'm saying? And I love the example of the carnivorous animal kingdom and the herbivorous animal kingdom. You look at the carnivorous, the fleshly animal kingdom, they just walk around all day eating the hell out of things, other flesh. Animals chasing other animals down, just eating animals all day. Some crocodile grabbing a hippo, all the time, man. The animal kingdom, flesh eaters. And then you see the cow, chewing on the grass. Nice sunny day out, You might even see him lay down. He get up and he start chewing the grass. Everybody peaceful, hanging out out there on the farm, on the meadow, leaving each other alone. And then you switch over to the jungle, you see a buck running for his life, In other words, it's like the creator, you know what I'm saying? The creator is like, he's saying the flesh eating makes you the same way, where you just it appeals to your fleshly desires. And here we are as faithists, we trying to get up out of that vibration. Heavenly Father, he said it's going to be hard for you to hear me when you under that type of diet. I believe it. Personally, I believe it. And I don't want to be left behind in absolutely nothing while I'm here in the flesh. There's some unpleasantness about it. That's where I'm trying to get to. So anyway, I had stopped scrolling. I wasn't paying attention, and I had stopped scrolling the screen just to, I like to try to share and whet somebody's appetite to join the room, come in, be lively, and post and share and redeem the time while you got time. So just a little idea of what goes on in the room. Now, what I want to do right now is Oh man, it's almost time for the reading? That quickly? Well, let me do this real quick then. Let me stop that. Let's go to the little study I did on selfishness, man. You know, I didn't like having to give that word about what took place yesterday with the statement about men should just learn to control themselves. It's like I want to do what I want to do, and they should just learn to deal with it. And that's a very selfish type statement. Now, here are some quick verses on selfishness. It says, "For what profit under," I don't know what book this is. I'm going to be jumping from verse to verse till it's time for the reading. It says, "For what profit under the sun is it for my lords to come down from their liberty and glory and my ethereal firmament and become lords over the grovellers in the flesh?" Grovellers in the flesh. And then it's got a footnote. The footnote says, "Those given to base pleasures, those who like to grovel." So, what profit under the sun is it for my lords to come down from their liberty and glory in my ethereal firmament and become lords over the grovellers in the flesh, or over the Essenes in darkness? Shall selfishness reign in heaven, and everyone for himself? See, have I not proved it on the earth that the love of doing good works to others is all that ensures a rich harvest of love in return? That's what I want, man. I hope you want it too. I want a rich harvest. You know, I look at this reality as our opportunity to blow it out, man. A rich harvest. A rich harvest. A rich harvest. I wasn't sharing the tab. And let's see. I don't know if I'm even. Oh, shoot. I wasn't even sharing the tab. And there it is right there. Sorry about that, brother. I got highlighted what I was reading. For what profit under the sun is it for my lords to come down from their liberty and glory in my ethereal firmament and become lords over the grovellers? Now, I don't know who's talking here, but it sounds like a righteous God because he was in Etheria. So we're jumping in the middle of the thought because I'm kind of going from verse to verse looking at selfishness. It says, "There is a central light within man seen clearly, but the four dark corners of the world, ignorance, lust, selfishness, and anger, beset him on all sides." See there? So we got to acknowledge that. We got to acknowledge that there's such a thing as a weakness in men called lust. And there is such a thing in the world where a woman can entice, she can easily entice a man. And it could have disastrous results. But we got to acknowledge that. We got to admit that that's in the world, not take that attitude, well, he should learn to control himself. It ain't as easy as people make it sound. And if we do anything, that will, you know what I mean, that will help to manifest that weakness, it could bring consequences. This verse says, it's a long verse. It says, "And yet these chambers were the reports of the guardian angels of the lives of good work previously done by every man and woman of all the 2 billion who were to ascend to Jovi's higher heavens. But in all the records, there was not recorded one evil thing or dark deed or selfish thought. See, you say, well, he should deal with the problem. I want to do what I want to do. It's his problem. He should deal with it. That's a selfish thought. But in all the records, there was not recorded one evil thing or dark deed or selfish thought. That's talking to us. I remember I posted something in my room where the creator, he said that one way you can know what spirit you're hearing from, it depends on what you ask for. He said, if you ask for selfish things, you can rest assured you're going to get an answer from an evil spirit. You're going to get an answer from an evil spirit if it's primarily concerning you, your welfare. And then it said that when you ask according to the will of the Creator, then the will of the Creator, He's going to answer you. Same thing is being said here. It says, but in all the right now, I have to think this has to do with those who ascend to the higher realms. It says, but in all the records, there was not recorded one evil thing or dark deed or selfish thought. For of these things, the ascending hosts had long since purged themselves. So the same thing go for us. If we're going to ascend, you can't be having thoughts like that where it's your brother's problem, not yours. It's your sister's problem, not yours. That's a selfish thought, man. And it could have some serious ramifications here on the earth. Well, the brother ought to learn to control himself. It don't matter what I wear. It does matter what you wear. It matters how you feature yourself. It could cost you your life. So let's look at another. Hey, Prince, how you doing, bro? Hey, good to see you, man. I hope you're staying strong, Prince. I got your link in the description, trying to push your channel. I hope you staying strong, brother. Keep on keeping on. Keep going, man. You know, we'll reap a reward if we don't faint. And the light is going to win anyway. Sometimes you might not see it. All right, let me keep going. Let me see. Ace Nest says we have to start swapping vegetarian recipes. Who, me? You know what? I'm just basically I'm keeping it simple for right now. I eat like vegetarian burritos, you know. I eat like a lot of grains, like pancakes, you know, grits. I'm just trying to just until I want to, you know, I'm going to start building from there, like making salads and, you know, that type of stuff. So here's some more. I'm looking at the word selfish, and I'm basing it off of the conversation I had on video the other day with the sister. She made the statement. We got onto the subject of lust. We got onto the subject of lust because of something I was reading. I'm going to go to the reading in a few minutes, and I'm going to visit the subject again. I got some new understanding on what we read yesterday. I was vexed because it made me feel like, man, I can't make it. I can't make the kingdom. I can't do this. I cannot. After the end of the video, I was in pretty bad shape, man. I felt like I can't go on. If I don't think I can make it, I'm not going to waste my time. And the Creator, man, it's like he rescued me again. He rescued me again, man, and made me even happier than I was because he gave me the understanding. You're going to see what I mean. Let's do a couple of verses on selfishness, and then I'm going to go to the reading. It says, in the first case, now I'm jumping in the middle of all these thoughts, trying to just look at verses that have the word selfishness in it. Kind of a statement a sister made the other day about we were on the subject of lust and how men get provoked, and a sister said that they should just learn to control themselves. And it really bothered me how I responded. So now I was vexed all after the video, all the way up till the day because of the way I handled it. And I'm trying to make amends by looking at verses on selfishness. And America, the culture we grew up in, it's got a lot to do with rebellion from the Creator, giving us that type of mind where it's on you. It ain't on me. Don't blame me for what I do that affects you. Here's a verse where it says, in the first case, they ultimately become selfish and wicked. So let's go over here and see what it says up above. It says, for this rule follows on all corporal worlds, that with the culture of corporal senses, man becomes vigorous, strong, and independent. And with the culture of spiritual senses and corporeans, they become weak, sensitive, and dependent. Okay, now I'm not getting the context out of it. It says in the first case, they ultimately become selfish and wicked. In the second case, they become impotent and unadapted to corporeal life and thus become extinct. On all corporal worlds, for every race he created, Jehovah has provided these two seasons. A season for the development of the okay, I see. So how we have to balance the corporeal with the spiritual. Balance the corporal with the spiritual. He says Jehovah has provided these two seasons. A season for the development of the corporal senses and a season for the development of the spiritual senses. To find the mean between these is to find cosmic, which lies far in the future. So we're in that time right now, cosmic, where we have to treat with equal deference the physical and the spiritual. Don't just always, all you know is the spiritual, to the detriment of your physical welfare. The Creator is saying that He wants you to respect your body, He wants you to respect your spiritual, and that's how we're going to achieve the ultimate happiness, the ultimate benefit when we're in balance like that. We're out of balance right now in this reality. We're coming back into balance because we got this word now. And it's teaching us how to think. It's teaching us what to do. It's teaching us how to look at other people. And that's peace of mind. Now you're talking peace of mind because you in the will of the Creator. Now you got peace of mind. I was talking to somebody today who was all tore up. You know, she was telling me she wanted to commit suicide. She had demons vexing her. And that's what makes sometimes it make this walk tough. But the thing you brethren should remember, you got answers. The only way that the world is going to make it is through the faithist. It's through the faithist, man, because we got real answers. We got real answers. When you deal with people like that, the Creator, I'm convinced, man, He takes over. You know, because she told me that, and I just started praying in my own mind that He would give me something to say, that He would help me, you know, because I rarely go outside and just hang out like I did today. And so today was one of those days I just decided to go out and hang out. And there wasn't no point because nobody walks up and down that street. Where I live, it's like real dead. I mean, I literally live in the middle of a bunch of cemeteries surrounding the property. And so nobody comes walking around here. You know, they don't want to be reminded. And I just went out there, and there she came walking down the street. And then I had my back turned to her. And then she walked up on me. She said, hello. And that's when I knew she was sent to me. Anytime I meet somebody like that, that's somebody's been sent to you. People don't just automatically strike up a conversation with you like that. And so we got to talking, and I could see that she had spirits on her. And after we talked for a few minutes, she came out and said that she was struggling with suicide thoughts. And that's when I was for sure knew that, the Creator, he was going to use me to talk to her. And I talked to her the best I could with all my heart, man. I let it hang out where I just tried my best, man, to turn on the light, to turn the light on, man. We ended up talking for about 3 or 4 hours. And I laid it on her, man, like the Bible says, sometimes you got to snatch people, like snatch them by the neck, man. Just grab something and pull them out of the fire, So she seemed like the talk did her some good. And so hopefully I'll find out at some later date she'll come back through again. But, you fake this, man. You got to realize, you brethren, if anybody's got words of life, you brethren are carrying it. And you never know when a situation is going to fall on you. It could fall on you. You know what I'm saying? It could fall on you. And I will say this, you'll be surprised at what the Creator is going to do with you. I mean, you're going to say things that you never, that you never knew. You're going to, something is going to happen to you where you're going to be able to minister. You put it this way, you're not going to fail. You will not fail, man. As long as you're sincere. As long as you're sincere. Now, let me look at one more word on selfishness, then it's time for the reading. It says, Zarathustra said, how shall they make decrees so that the decrees do not pervert liberty? Oahspe said, do not ask this, O man. He who cries out constantly for his liberty is a selfish man. He is a drunk. Unless a man is willing to sacrifice his liberty somewhat for the public good, he is unworthy before Oahspe. To find the amount of sacrifice, this is the business of the decrees. So here's an interesting verse saying that we have to be willing to sacrifice our liberty. Now, the statement that was made was a man, he ought to control his own lust. He ought to control his lust. But here it's saying that we may have liberty to do something, but for the sake of our brother, we should control, we should, like, if I'm doing something that could possibly trigger somebody one way or another, even though it's my liberty to do it, you shouldn't do it. You should not do it. And I don't want to sound like I'm just coming down on sisters. I'm not doing that. It's just that the statement was made yesterday, and it was very problematic for me, both the way I handled it and what I was thinking after the video yesterday. It was very problematic, and I should have dealt with it differently. And I don't want that to happen to me again, where I make that mistake of not dealing with something when my spirit was saying, do this or do that, and I don't do it. So here we have this statement here. It says, oh man, he who cries out constantly for his liberty is a selfish man. And that's what America is great for. I know my rights. You can't do that. See, that's how people are going to miss the Creator. Crying out for your liberty. It says you're a selfish man. It said he is a drunk. Unless a man is willing to sacrifice his liberty. Look at that. Somewhat. Look, for the public good. He is unworthy before Oahspe. You see there? We got to change our mind, man. We better change our mind. We better change our mind, man. It's time for the reading. So the name of the video is Ranja. 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 And how much you want to bet I clicked off on the study? How much you want to bet? I sure did. I clicked off of the study. That's amazing. I keep doing that. That is quite amazing. Okay, so what was, let me see. Oh, okay, wait a minute. I know how to get it back. Type in Ranja. 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 That was part of the verse. Ranja. 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 And that's going to be the reading of the word. So let me get to it. Ranja. Now, Ranja, let's see. Bring up the word search. Now, we was reading this yesterday. The brother, he suggested it. Now, it wasn't what I was looking for, but it sure was dynamite when we looked at it to me. I was looking for something else. And we came to this, right? And then that's what led us on the discussion about lusting. It says here something about do not let a man lust after a woman or desire a woman according to lust, right? We're going to read it, right? Let me see. Let's go into it. Let me start at the top. We're going to get into it. May the Creator bless the reading of his word. Chapter 11, God's word. It says, by this authority, then, I, Zarathustra, by the power of Ahura Mazda, reveal the created creations. Or Mazdi created a good creation first. The land and water and firm things. Out of the unseen and void, he created them. Second, the heavenly lights and the heat and the cold everywhere. Third, all living animals, fish and birds. Fourth, man and woman. All right. Then Ormazdi spoke through his son, Vivanto, saying, speech, voice, words, and man and woman were the only talking animals created in all the created world. Oh, man, I got to close the curtains. There's too much glare on my screen. One second, brother. Okay, good enough. Ormazdi then, verse 4, Ormazdi then created death and Romanius, creating him with 7 heads. First vanity, then tattling. Oh, wow. We say that all the time. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Tattling. Oh, wow. Then worthlessness. Oahspe. Then lying. Uska. Then incurable wickedness. Hissy. Then evil intentions. For evil, foe and hiss. Then king and leader, Davius. Now the footnote says, here's the footnote right here. It says, these are the same as the 7 tetrarchs of the Hebrew scriptures. But here they call, it says that Ormazdi created death. But it's the same, these attributes as the Hebrew tetrarchs, okay? It says Ormazdi then created association, clans, by words, bringing men together. Horoyu. It says Ormazdi then created habitations, oikie. And then he created dwelling places for the gods, Barinia. With 4 good corners and 4 evil corners, he created them. And Ormazdi created sustenance for the living and the dead, Heoma. Then he created the boon, which is blessing or benefit, a rest for the weary, Araquati, which is okay. Then he created the boon of rest for the weary, Araquati. After that, he created sweet smelling and rich growing pastures, meadows, called Herba. And Ramasi created combination, unity, which is strength, chakra, then power to receive knowledge. Hayden Amaz. Ormasi then created the holy, Ormasi is another name for creator. Ormasi then created the holy day, rock. Then he made the four signs of the moon. Ukit, Iget, Kiget, and Miget for all holiness. The four signs of the moon. The changes of the moon. Like the crescent, the waning crescent, the full moon, the first quarter, I think. And he said, 6 days you shall labor, O man, and worship on the seventh, because they are the moon's times. So also, I said at the beginning of the video, if you brethren, if you would share with me how you keep the moon, how do you do anything, make prayers, or how do you acknowledge the moon cycles? If anybody does that, I can't see if you want to come on the channel. You have to let me know if you want to come on the channel to tell me. I think I forgot to put the link in too, so I might as well. Let me put the link in the rooms in case anyone wants to come on. That's something that I want to start trying to do. I want to acknowledge the moon cycles. Ever since I come into this thing, it's like there's a steady progression of things that we should do. You know, got to take it slow though, man. You can't do it all. You know, stopping the meat eating, that's a big one right there. You know, but it can be, if I can do it, anybody can do it. That's for sure. So there's a link in case anybody wants to come on and you have something you want to say. So it says, verse 8, and Armasi created combination, unity, which is strength, chakra, then power to receive knowledge, which is Hayden Amasi. Amasi then created the holy day, rock. Then he made the four signs of the moon, Uk, Get, Eget, Kiget, Miget, for all holiness. Verse 10, and he said, 6 days shalt thou labor, O man, and worship on the seventh, because they are the moon's times. So Sunday evening, Monday evening is when what I consider to be the Sabbath. Based off of the first day of the new year, and then you count 7, and then that's the weekly Sabbath. But the moon cycles, I think they're different. They fall differently, different days. Verse 11, then Ormasi, the creator, created the power to live without kings. Okay, now we're getting into that area that led me to monologue on what I talked about earlier in the video. We're getting into that area now. It says, then Ormasi, the creator, created the power to live without kings, like the Ihins in the east, and the name of this power he created was Ranha. Okay, so the definition of Ranha, the meaning of it, I'm looking for the definition. Let me read it. It says, then spoke Huamasi, the Zarathustra, the all-pure, saying, to attain Ranha, how to attain to Ranha. This then is the holy Mazdian law. So now we're talking about a level of spirituality from what I can see, is called Ranja, something that we can attain, and it calls it the Holy Mosleyan Law, Ranja. Now check out this, verse 13. It says, Oahspe shall be king, and you shall acknowledge no other. So this is Ranja. This is how we attain Ranja, a level called Ranja. This is our target. This is what we are shooting for, because from what I understand, this is our highest that we can attain. Ranja, correct me if I'm wrong, man. Ranja. It's called Ranja, and it's the law. It's a law. It says Oahspe. This is Ranja. Creator, Oahspe shall be king, and you shall acknowledge no other. He shall be your all highest love forever, and above all other loves. You shall disown all rulers, queens, lords, and gods. You shall not bow down in reverence except to Oahspe, your creator. You shall covenant yourself to your creator every day and teach your children to do also. You shall keep holy the 4 moon days, for they are the change of watch of the gods and angels over man. So I want to put that question out to anybody again. How do you acknowledge the moon cycles? I mean, do you make a special prayer? You can put it in the chat, or you can come on the channel. Let us know how. Is it where you make a prayer and acknowledge change of the moon cycle? Do you greet the new angels that take over? How do you, brethren, do it? Since I just found out about it, I plan to just make prayer, acknowledge them, the moon cycles, keep watch for the moon, the cycles of it, and then just make a prayer, acknowledge them until I get educated better how other brethren do it. We're told to do it. It says, you shall not kill what your creator created alive. You shall love your father next to your creator and obey his voice and honor your mother, because she brought you forth by the will of the creator, your creator. Here was the problem verse right here that caused some problems. Well, I shouldn't say problems. It caused an uncomfortable discussion. It led to conversation about the dynamic of man and woman, at least in society. Now, I made the statement that women dressed half naked in this society. Now, that was a poor use of words. It got me in trouble. And the discussion, it picked up from there. See, it says here, you shall not allow your desires to lead you after a woman. Now, that really vexed me, because I didn't know of anything other than your desires that cause you to approach a woman. I didn't know, I thought it was your desires that was all that caused you to approach after a woman. Now, that was the understanding I had yesterday. It vexed me, because I was thinking, but how am I gonna put a stop to my desires? How do you do that? And then I thought about the verse, and that's not what it was saying. It was saying, the understanding I got, now somebody correct me if I'm wrong, what was being said here was, you shouldn't, because there are base desires. You could just like a woman sexually, be attracted to her physically. And from what I understand, the creator is saying, don't let that be the reason that you approach after her. And see, that's the animal kingdom. That's where they do that all the time. In this kingdom here. And women, they know that. That's why a lot of them dress the way they do, to attract. And men are attracted, and they are attracted because of their desires. It says, the footnote says, was there a parallel rule for women regarding her desires? And it's formed in the phrase of a question. But the Creator is saying you shall not allow your desires to lead you after a woman. You know, where you see her, you want her physically, and that's really all. You just want to take her and use her. That's the overstanding I get. You just want her for temporary purposes, and that's why he's saying you shall get is basically get a hold of your desires. Don't make it lead you to, you know what I mean? Now I could be wrong. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think it's always a bad thing. If you see a woman, you like her, you want to desire her, and you go and meet her. I think what the Creator is saying, don't let your, you know what I mean? Don't let your lust, if you are lusting after her, don't let that lead you to her. And actually, most men, they keep that commandment. The vast majority of men, they keep that commandment. They may feel something for her, but they don't approach her. They don't act on their desires. They don't act on it. It's just that they might be attracted to her, but that doesn't mean that they're going to go and act on it. A lot of men are that way. I know I'm like that. I think that women are beautiful anyway. And there's, you know, when you go out in public, you're bound to find, I mean, you know what I mean? Men, I believe they could, you know, I believe the Creator is saying when your base desires, where you want, it's just all 100% physical. Don't allow that to lead you after a woman. And I think that's the world for you. That's the world for you. People, you know, nightclubs, you know, a couple of drinks, you know, there he is, there she is, you know. There's an unwritten rule in clubs like that. Most people looking for one thing. I know, especially with guys, your desires lead you after the woman. So if anybody wants to share anything on, you want to comment, or this is what led to that discussion on the video yesterday, that it had we ended up having a discussion about basically male and female, how certain things that someone can do to the other that causes them to act in a certain way. You shall not take that which is another's. You shall not be vain, for nothing is yours. You shall not speak untruth. You shall not talk about your neighbor behind his back, for minds hears you, and the angels will go tell your neighbor's soul what you said. You shall not be idle or lazy, or your flesh will become weak and bear down on your soul. Man, that's the truth. That is the truth. Verse 26, you shall not envy nor harbor hatred against any man, woman, or child. You shall not reprove any man or woman for their evil, for they are the Creator's. Now, there's another verse. I mean, that is very, very interesting right there. Very, very interesting. You shall not reprove any man or woman for their evil, for they are the Creator's. Now, when I read stuff like this, it makes me think about how the Oahspe, it says that, I forget where I read it, and it said that it's not without, what did it say? It said something how it's not perfect. I forget. It says it somewhere in the Oahspe about itself, but it's a guidebook. It's not it's not without. Then there's a word that it uses to let you know that it's I want to say imperfections, but I don't want to say that. I can't think of another word. But look at that. We do that every day. You shall not reprove any man or woman for their evil, for they are the creators. You shall not reprove. How you know what I mean? Oh, okay, yeah, thanks, Elijah. It's not all immaculate truth. The Oahspe is not all immaculate truth. How do you brethren like that? I think that the Creator is showing us we've gotten so far away off in the deity worship and idolatry that he said that he was going to allow us to read the heavenly libraries. And now we're in the cosmic era where this greater light, it's a greater light is coming out. But there seems some things that he says that it's like, he says, you shall not reprove any man or woman for their evil, for they are the creators. But it make you think, but when you reprove somebody, isn't that one way that people learn? Isn't that one way that people are going to take heed? If you warn them or you tell them, maybe they don't know what they're doing. I just got finished doing that. So there's verses like these that I don't know how to receive them. I mean, you shall not reprove your own child and teach them. You shall reprove your own child and teach them the right way. You shall not lie with your wife during pregnancy. You shall not marry any of your kin except beyond fifth generation. You shall not take to wife a woman of unclean habits. What's unclean habits? And was there a parallel rule here? Forbid? That's what it's saying. Footnote. You shall not commit the self-habit. You shall not desire your neighbor more than you would give. What's the self-habit? Self-habit. You shall not desire of your neighbor more than you would give. You shall fast one day of the fourth moon all your life, neither eating fish or flesh, nor bread, nor fruit, nor shall anything but water enter your mouth. See, you shall fast one day of the fourth moon. You shall fast one day of the fourth moon. Look at that, all your life. This is to attain Ranha. That's like an exalted level from what I can understand. Ranha, man. Ranha. It says, one whole year of your life you shall dwell with the poor and give to the poor, sleep with the poor, begging for alms for the poor. So this is to reach that level. Now, there's a king in here, Asa, and that's basically, he did it. He gave up his kingdom to attain Ranha. It tells you the account. I think it's right here. Ranha, man. Now, I recall reading where it's like one day is better than the previous. It's all good. Ranha, it's like Nirvana, from what I understand. Ranha. It says, Oahspe, we see Asenath says, when is the fourth moon? Okay, let's find out. Let's go online. Would that be the full moon? Full moon for May 2024. The full moon of May, it will occur on Friday, May 23rd at 9:53. That's the full moon for May. Is that the fourth moon or is the new moon the fourth? No, the full moon is the fourth moon, right? The full moon is the fourth moon. May 23rd. So we passed that fourth moon. Let me see if it can help me. What is the fourth moon of the month? The fourth phase of the moon cycle is called the waxing gibbous. Okay, which occurs once a month. During this phase, most of the moon is visible from Earth, except for a small portion on the left side. The waxing gibbous moon rises around 3 p.m., sets around 3 a.m. Okay, let's see what it is. The waxing crescent. I don't think you can see that full image. And the waxing gibbous. The waning gibbous. The waxing gibbous. Okay, it's got the light is on the left-hand side. Forms a little crescent there. So the fourth moon was May 23rd. That was a change of watch. The fourth phase of the moon cycle is called the waxing gibbous, which occurs once a month. And that was on the 23rd of May. It was on the 23rd of May. That was a change of watch. Does that help you, Ace? It was on the 23rd. When is the fourth moon? On the 23rd. So the new moon in June. June 2024, full moon, fourth moon. Oh, fourth moon. Let's redo this. June 2024, full moon. Friday, June 21st. So the next fourth moon is June 21st at 9:08 p.m. I don't know if that helps you, Ace, in that, but okay. So the next full moon is June 21st at 9:08. And that's the change of watch or the angels. I guess it's a day where we acknowledge it, maybe pray, offer praise and thanksgiving, the change of watch of the angels. Okay, so let me go back and finish the reading. Let's see. And I might have clicked off on the reading. Let's see. Yeah, I sure did. That's all right. I'll get it back. Okay, so one whole year of your life, you shall dwell with the poor, live with the poor, sleep with the poor, begging for alms for the poor. Ranja, that's so that if you want to elevate to that level, how do you like that? These are the laws for attaining that level. Ranja, it's called Ranja. Let's read chapter 12. Chapter 12, may the Creator bless the reading of His word. Oahspe said to Zarathustra, the all pure, 3 castes have I made. The first are the eye hens, sacred above all other people, because they keep my commandments. Second, the Ahuans, whom I created more powerful than other people, because by them I will subdue the earth. And third, the Druks, the evil people who will not learn. Oahspe said to Zarathustra, the all-pure, remember the caste of men. Keep your blood in the place I created you, nor shall you marry except in the caste I created you. Oahspe said, 1,000 castes I created among the Ahuans, the king, the doctor, the magician, the priest, the farmer, the bearer of burdens, the messenger, swift-footed, and for all other occupations under the sun. I created them each and all within their own castes. Nor shall they marry except in the castes I created them. Zarathustra responded to Oahspe, saying, I will keep your commandments, your 70 commandments and 707,000. I will preserve as sacred the caste you have created, O Oahspe. And I will teach these holy truths to my children, to my servants, and to all men. Then Oahspe wrote all the commandments, those previously mentioned, and he stooped down and kissed the books which were made of stone and cloth, saying, This is my holy book. Take it, O Zarathustra, you all pure, and go forth into the word, teaching it and explaining it. Then Zarathustra, the all pure, stooped down, kissed the book, saying, This is your holy book, O Oahspe. I take it. I will go to all the world, teaching it and explaining it. Thus was completed the first sacred, most holy book created for mortals. And Zarathustra rose up from his writing, tall and handsome, inquiring of Oahspe, saying, Where shall I go first, O master? Then answered Oahspe, creator of Ormazdian law, the Zarathustrian law, saying, To take my holy book, the Ormazdian law, the Zarathustrian law, first to Oahspe, king of the Ahuans, king of Oahspe, the city of the sun. Him I prepared for you and your work since the day of his birth, since the day of your birth, since the day I spoke to him in your infancy. Then Zarathustra went forth strong in faith, and he came to Oahspe, the king, and the king said to him, You have been gone so long. Behold, I have cast the horoscope 100 times, 1,000 times. I have proved all the stars in heaven, and named them and made maps of them, and I have measured the power of one star over another star, and the powers of the stars on this world, and the powers of the sun and the moon. Yes, I have sent to the great cities of the east to men of great learning, and to the south and north and west to men of great learning. And then I sent to the kings of Japheth and Shem, to Baal Gad, to Bingtha, and to the great city of Hugsen, where the great philosopher Atong lives. And from all these I have obtained great wisdom. Hear me then, O Zarathustra. Although I do not believe your philosophy, I will speak to you as if it were true. First then, in all the stars, there is nothing but lies, nor does it matter if a man is born under this star or that star. Sounds like he's talking about the zodiac. He says, I am old now, and I have observed thousands of men, yes, even kings and queens, as to whether the stars rule over them. And I declare to you that the philosophy of the stars is nothing but lies. Moreover, I've searched my own behavior and find that I'm often doing things contrary to my first intentions. But as to the cause, I do not know. This also I've discovered. There is one kind of cause that lies with individuals, and there's another kind of cause that lies with kings and kingdoms. But yet I perceive that each and every man is bound in his own channel by something stronger than himself. To find the cause of this, I have searched to the extent of all the stars in the firmament, but did not find the truth. So now he's acknowledging astrology. He refutes it, and then he acknowledges it. He says, now I ask you in the name of your gods, if you can prove this matter to your king. Then Zarathustra answered, saying, Through my hand, Oahspe has written a most holy book, explaining many philosophies. This book I have brought to you according to the commandments of my God, so that you may read it. Then the king took the book and read it. And the next day Zarathustra came again before the king. The king said, Your book thus and so, but it proves little. See, he's an unbeliever right now, this king. And it's like the Creator is showing us the progression from unbelief to faith in people as well. Because he's offering up the objections that any person would make. He says, then the king took the book and read it, and the next day Zarathustra came again before the king. The king said, your book says thus and so, but it proves little. Your God asserts he has done thus and so, and that he created thus and so. First of all, then I do not, he says, first of all, then I do not know if there is a God. Second, if there is a God, I do not know why he comes. I do not know that he comes to you. And third, if he comes to you and he is a just God, why does he not come to me? And yet after all this, for I do not doubt your wisdom would give sufficient answers to these questions. If it is true, there are gods unseen that rule over us and spirits of the dead that come to us, persuading our souls unconsciously to ourselves. What does it matter whether we try or not to obtain truth and wisdom? Shall all things not be left to the spirits and gods and lords? Do you not know that the ancients believed these things? And yet, what of the ancients? Were they not in darkness and addicted to horrid rites and ceremonies and murders and savagery? With our wisdom of disbelief in their religions, have we not attained the great cities and empires? Behold, our thousands and tens and thousands of large cities, and they do not have all just, and do they not all have just reason to be proud? For there is not one city without walls and gates being adorned with thousands of skeletons, skulls of serpents and lions and scalps of drugs. So he's proclaiming that what benefit did the wisdom of the ancients have? And they believed, while we who do not believe have a much more glorious kingdom. And then he talks about the skulls, man, that adorn his kingdom. He said, behold our tens of thousands of large cities. He says, let me find it. He said, for there is not one city without walls and gates being adorned with thousands of skeletons and skulls and serpents and lions and the scalps of drugs. And he doesn't even know that the ancients, he's saying that we're better than the ancient kingdoms, but he doesn't know that he's more backwards than the ancients. Number one, he doesn't believe. And number two, he counts the murder, the skulls of the dead as something to glory in. He's backwards. He don't get it. Then Oahspe, the righteous God, spoke to the king, speaking through the voice of Zarathustra, saying, hear your God, O king, and consider my words. There are two births to all men. The first is from the mother's womb, and the second is from the corporal body. It says, prior to the first birth, the will and power of the child has nothing to do with shaping his own destiny. He says, but prior to the spiritual birth, which is the mortal death, the man has much to do with the shaping his future destiny in the next world. See, right now, you brethren, we're shaping our future destiny by the things we believe, the things we say, the things we do. As we increase in our element, as we elevate in our spiritual grade, there is such a thing. It just requires faith. We live in a world where most people are stagnant and going to have to elevate after this reality. And I wasn't even sharing the screen. I was not sharing the screen. I am not sharing the screen. Something happened where I was not sharing the screen. Oh, he beat me to it. He beat me to Oh, okay. Okay. Let me see. I'm doing something wrong here. I got beat to it. Okay, now let me see. I'm not sharing it yet. I gotta share it. Share a screen. Okay. Oh man, I was doing all that reading. Okay, there it is. Doggone it, man. Dang. I thought I was home free, man. I was doing all that reading. I was doing all that reading, man. Wasn't even sharing the screen. Oh my goodness. I can't do it again. It's about time to close the video. Shoot, man. Uh anyway, the summary is that the king is he's voicing his objections to Zarathustra in this part of the chapter. He's just voicing his objections to faith, what Zarathustra is trying to teach him. And he's saying that why do you Zarathustra was trying to tell him about the ancients and how they their kingdom, and then Asa here is saying, well, I don't believe, and my kingdom is much more glorious. And he counts as glory the skulls and the skeletons that help adorn his city. And so he's just showing his ignorance. He's backwards. And so now Zarathustra, if you jump down to verse 18, so, well, okay, that's where he was talking about the ancients. The glory, he calls that the glory of his kingdom. Now, down here in verse 20, he says, I declare to you, O king, that the corporal man is therefore only half accomplished. As to his real life, he is only half his own master and only half the controller of this place and behavior in the mortal world. This is really interesting. It says, nevertheless, he is the first half of the first chooser. Do not think that spirits and gods rule men as they were slaves or toys. For another power also lies over man, which is neither spirits nor gods, nor stars, nor moon, nor sun, but the corporeal surroundings that feed his earthly desires. Verse 21, it says, this is the Oahspe law. Neither corporal stars, nor corporal earth, nor corporal moon, nor corporeal man rules over the spirit. But the subtle, the unseen to mortals is the cause and ruler of all things. That's nice, man. I can understand that. I can't really explain it right now because it's saying that there's a vibration of the sun, moon, and stars because you can't see it, but it affects you. Verse 22, Asa said, oh, if only I could believe this. If only I knew this were true. Oh, if only the unseen worlds could be opened up to my understanding. For I perceive there is more power and virtue in your philosophy than in my decrees. But touching on your book, O Zarathustra, answer me this. Why do the people in the world belong to, or who do the people in the world belong to? If not to me, the Sun King. If not to me, the Sun King, are the people not mine? Who Oahspe said, all belong to Oahspe. It is not here taught in the book that man shall acknowledge obedience and worship to Oahspe. I read that wrong. It says, Oahspe said, all belong to Oahspe. Is it not here taught in the book that man shall acknowledge obedience and worship to Oahspe only? Asa said, I so perceive. Answer me this, O Zarathustra. To disown the king and the king's kings, will this not bring anarchy? For will the rulers not declare your doctrine robs them of subjects to which Oahspe permitted Zarathustra, to which Oahspe permitted Zarathustra to reply. So I read that wrong. Let's read it again. He said, Oahspe said, I so perceive. Answer me this, O Zarathustra, to disown the king and the king's kings, will this not bring anarchy? For will the rulers not declare your doctrine robs them of subjects? To which Oahspe permitted Zarathustra to reply. He said, it is not hard for a man to be denied the privilege of choosing it. It is not hard for a man to be denied the privilege of choosing his own master. Behold, they are now impressed in the war. Yes, you keep standing armies trained in the labor of death. And this for the glory of the Sun Kingdom. Now hear me, O king, for I am now speaking on my own accord, and no God is speaking through me. I declare to you, I have attained power to go in soul into the unseen worlds and see with my own eyes how it is with the souls of the dead. And I declare to you, check it out, this serious business right here. Zarathustra talking about his power and how he was able to go into unseen worlds and what he saw. Check out what he says. He says, and I declare to you that there are great torments for the wicked. I have seen them in hell, with walls of fire going up around them day and night, suffocating fires of brimstone from which they cannot escape. And those slain in war, both those who are for the king and those against the king, are equally cast into ceaseless torments, and even kings and queens with them. Where are all wailing and gnashing of teeth and cursing, and in their madness doing wickedly toward others with all their might? The king said, if it is true that you can go into heaven and hell, it must be true that you can go. It must be true that you can go into heaven and hell. It must be true that you can go to places on the corporal earth in the same way. Prove this unto me, and I will believe all you have said. Then Zarathustra said, tell me where I should go, so I may convince you. Okay, let me see. Yeah, astral projection. Yeah. Zarathustra is doing astral projection. Oahspe said, go to the lore of the horoscope and find the words of the calendar. Okay, so it's time for me to stop the reading of the word. I'm going to just have to go ahead and scroll it. But this is a beautiful story right here. He's being taken from unbelief to belief. And Oahspe gets tested too. I mean, he gives up his kingdom. He goes and he suffers imprisonment. He suffers testing. I mean, because Zarathustra and Oahspe, they talk to him and tell him, at one point, Oahspe, he says, well, what am I going to gain? And they say nothing. Nothing. If you want to serve the Creator, you serve him without expecting anything. I mean, he gets, there is a recompense, but he's like saying to us that we have to be the same way. We can't, there's no selfishness anywhere we got to be free of it, man. We got to be free of it. Anyway, the end of Oahspe, his unbelief, the end of him is great blessing and glory and a larger kingdom than the one he had before. And so it's like the summary of that is that the part that really stands out to me, now there's a part I didn't read here where it says that Oahspe at one point, he says that he talks about the mystery of unbelief and how in the womb, some gravitate to faith and some don't. And that they began to show him, like I was just getting to the part where Zarathustra is going to show the king. He's going to, like the king says, okay, if you have the power to go to unseen worlds, or you have the power to go here or there, astral projection, like David was saying, he said, go here and get this word. So Zarathustra would do it. And then the king said, well, I don't believe you because you could have had that before I even asked you and found out from somebody that I was going to ask you that. So Let me ask you something else. So Zarathustra went and did it. And then the king said, no, I don't believe you because this could have happened. And so Oahspe came to him and said, you see how your own craft keeps you from being able to see the creator. And that's the world today. People just will not. There's a reason why this can't be true. Or, well, a white man wrote that book. So, and you just, the creator is saying, you believe because you just gravitated to it, and then you confirmed it during your life. You just basically received it, and it got confirmed. But for people who can't receive faith, just no matter the situation that comes up, they just seem to look at the glass half full. It's all about perception. All about perception, man, when you talk about the faith. So that will conclude the reading of the word. I will open up the room for a little bit and see if anyone wants to come on and make a comment. So the link is at the somewhere in the chat. You click on it, I'll bring you in, and we can have a talk or anything that we have talked about. Brethren, good to see you. Thanks for joining me. And it was kind of a tough video, for at least for me, having to talk about the discussion that we had yesterday about the comment that the sister made about, men should control their lust. And it was really a statement like, I'm going to do what I want to do. And if you can't deal with it, then too bad. And that's what the world would say. And we don't understand that. The creator, he says that, number one, it will cause, when we do things and you cause a person's spiritual elevation to suffer, to decline, it doesn't benefit either of you. It don't benefit either you or them. And then the logical side is to make sure your actions don't bring disaster on you. Your own actions can bring a great disaster on you because it's something you do. It's well within your liberty, but it affects someone in such a way that it could come back on you. So that's very, it's, I hate having to deal with subjects like that. And, but it's important that sometimes people don't see things certain ways. And, you have, I have seen where, where a young woman may not realize why she caused this is a mystery to me, why she caused the guy to act a certain way. And it's not 100% all the time. Some guys just, no matter how a woman presents herself, that they just can't handle it. They just can't handle it. But depending on how you feature yourself, if you're wearing skin tight clothing and leaving little to the imagination, you could trigger a man. And they're stronger than women. And there ain't going to be no logic involved in preventing there could be a situation that could come of it. There are people, man, they will throw away their whole life for just a moment of pleasure. They will risk their marriage. They will risk their family. That's how strong the lustful desire can be. And people play with it, man. It ain't nothing to be played with. So that was the summary of the video today. It was a very unpleasant topic to have to deal with. But it's like sometimes things they have to be talked about. And that's one thing that I hope that the faithism, I hope it don't turn into like Christian faithism, where you sweep things under the rug. There are a lot of things, yeah, we do sweep under the rug. We turn the other cheek. But there are things that if they're not brought out, it could leave a brother or sister in ignorance, and they don't learn until the situation turns negative, and the situation turns violent, the situation takes a turn for the worse, even to the point of your life, because something is not said, or nobody is warned. So nobody wants to make a comment. Nobody wants to come on and tell me that cuss me out or anything. Or nobody. Well, it's still good to see you, brother, joining me. I appreciate that. No videos tomorrow or Sunday, the weekend, and Wednesday Bible study. I like to have make the Bible study. So if nobody has anything, then I'm going to thank you for joining me. I'm going to give thanks to the Heavenly Father, Earthly Mother, the Father, Mother, for the opportunity to be a light while I'm in this reality. Brethren, thank you so much. And until I see you again on video, peace, love, and light. Shalom.